Hey, how you doing, Ricky?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to hop on the show, man. Appreciate that.
No problem, man.
So I'll give a quick little intro. So Heavy Brand Podcast. I'm originally an immigrant from Ghana, and
Okay.
Detroit was where my family we all found each other. We got reunited in Detroit in like '87 to '89. So growing up in Detroit, a lot of my peers didn't really have that many positive role models. So
Right.
throughout my different 9 to 5s, I've been, youth counselor and working with the youth. So this summer, I decided to put together a youth podcast where I could bring on mainly professionals of color to kind of open up that platform to our young viewers.
Okay.
Yep. And I didn't know the podcast was going to spread to Kampala, Uganda, Nairobi, Kenya, and to my native homeland. So the podcast has grown, and the viewers are mainly student athletes. So it's a little bit different from the regular podcast. So with that being said, um, Ricky, if you don't mind, just giving a little intro to who Ricky Paulding is, a man from the city.
Okay. Yeah. I'm from Detroit. I grew up in Highland Park. Um, I went to Renaissance High School. Then played basketball at the University of Missouri. Um, was drafted in second round, 2004 by the Pistons. Uh, but then pretty much ever since I finished my career at Mizzou, I've been
Sure.
overseas. I've 1 year in Israel, 2 years in France, and then I think this is like 14. I've been in Germany on the same team.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I've been blessed, man, to continue
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
do what I love to do. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I don't know if the name Alden Bray sounds familiar to you from your days of Renaissance.
yeah, that was my point
So
guard, man. Yeah,
it's interesting because my junior high team, I played on the same junior high team as Alden,
yeah.
and it got to be the only junior high team in the history of basketball where the bench unit actually made it further in basketball than the starters. Alden was on that team. I came off the bench with him, and we also had a young man named Morris Hall. Morris
Okay,
Hall playing at Wayne State, so it was
okay.
weird. Our starters didn't really end up playing college ball, but the bench guys, a lot of them end up playing a college sport, so that's pretty rare.
Yeah, that's dope.
So now, Ricky, for our young viewers, kind of break down like how did you what made you choose Renaissance when you were coming out of junior high? What made you choose Renaissance? Did you got to take the test for it to get in?
Yeah. So I went to school on the east side, so I went by King, over by King. It's called Duffield, and then Whitney Young at the time. And then but I always knew I was either gonna go to Cass King or Renaissance. And then I didn't really know much about Renaissance, but my mentor, my AAU coach, uh, guy that kind of grew me growing up, he had an older son that went to Renaissance, and he kind of knew that he was like, this would be a good place for you, because I was always a pretty good student.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was like, it's a place where you could go and you could, potentially, make the team as a freshman and get some time. And so, um, I took the test and I got in and, the rest is history, but I didn't, you know, going there, I didn't think that it would lead me on the path that I ended up going on.
Yeah, it's not there's been millions of student athletes. A lot of people play basketball throughout the world, but the chances of you know going to college to play on a scholarship is actually quite rare. Let alone getting paid to play on a pro level. That's also rare. Now,
Right.
um, as I was doing the PSL series this summer, I was asking some of our guests, who are some of their toughest matchups throughout the PSL because the PSL is well known, throughout the country as far as one of the top high school basketball league. So now for
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
Ricky, who were 3 to 5 of your toughest matchups in the PSL during your time?
Man.
No, I put you on the spot. You out here in Germany, it's probably like 10 o'clock at night.
you got me thinking. Uh, Let me see. I mean, I'll go to like the, people we play in the conference. I think there was a dude. He went to CMA, and his name was, damn, what's his name?
Was it Chase Simon or that was before
Chase? Chase is younger than me, but I ran across
Okay.
Chase a little bit. But his name was like Ricardo Thomas or something like that. Or he was kind of a big guy that could, push the ball, get to the rack, shoot a little bit. You know, we had to play, Rogers Academy. So Ricardo Billing,
Okay.
yeah, he was tough. And then who else? Let me get one more. Man, it's tough. It's been a minute, man. So I'll say those two guys. I'm sure I'm leaving some people out.
Wing and Renaissance, right?
What'd you say?
Did you play mainly like the wing and Renaissance?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I was the tallest guy on the team, so on defense, I was kind of had to guard the bigs, but offense, I brought the ball up. I played on the wing, so that was kind of my advantage, and that was our advantage at Renaissance.
Now, as far as like college choices, and for some of our young, student athletes that's listening, did you go at it alone as far as picking out your college, or did you have some help in picking Missouri, a school outside of the state of Michigan?
Uh, yeah, I had some help. My mom, my high school coach Mark White. Um, I was able. I mean, I made the school choice that I wanted to go to, but they definitely helped me out, and it was tough. I wanted to go to Michigan State, it was Ohio State there, but I had my guy, my AAU teammate, ended up going to Mizzou with me, and that was Arthur Johnson, and we decided that
Okay.
we wanted to play together, and then Mizzou was like, out of all our choices, that was like the best fit for both of us, and so that kind of nudged me. Okay, like my guy's going to Mizzou, and we're gonna go together and do it.
Now at Missouri, was the coach Quinn Snyder at the time?
Yep, Quinn Snyder.
Did you know he was a McDonald's All-American?
I didn't know that going in, but like he would let a little bit of things out when we were there. I was able to look through his books from when he was at Duke, and we kind of looked him up and see what kind of game he had, and Coach Q could ball.
Now, playing in the Big 12 at the time, what was the biggest adjustment for you being, 6'5" guard / forward, and then coming to a D1 college conference where there's a bunch of 6'5" guard / forward? What was the biggest adjustment for you on that level? Because that's the big leagues, that's big boy basketball.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't high school boys no more. It was. This dudes were men. So I think the weight room was something that I really focused on my first 2 years. Just as a freshman, getting some playing time, and then matching up against those guys who were juniors and seniors. They were a lot stronger than me, and so that's something I really focus on is getting stronger and being able to hold my own against those guys.
Okay. As far as Big 12 play, do you remember a certain player at your position that that you knew you had to get enough sleep for, the night before?
Yeah, there was a lot. The guy that comes to mind right now is a guy named Andre Emmett. He passed
Oh,
away, I
big
think,
dude, rest
recently.
in peace.
Yeah. But he could go. Like I knew every night I had to be ready because he was going to get buckets, and he was
Yep.
like full gas the whole game. And so I think because of the conference, we end up only playing him like once, once a season. But
Oh,
I knew I knew that was a guy that I had to, be ready to guard.
Mhm. Now, Ricky, I get a lot of DMs from South Sudanese ball players, and they want to know, like, as far as like prepping, for the college game, and playing out here in U.S. college. The game is really up and down. What tips can you give them as far as just prepping to even get a tryout or get a look for the college level?
I mean, like you said, I think the game is up and down, and so like, make sure you have endurance, making sure you. Uh, I think it's at the end of the day, it's basketball, and so, um, just having the confidence in your skill, whether it's, if you're a good shooter, going in the gym and perfecting your craft, and if, like I said, like when I was going into college, I knew I was a little bit thin, so I had to get stronger. So if that's something that you need to work on, work on something like that. But at the end of the day, it's basketball, and once you
Don't
get past,
overthink it.
yeah, once you get past the little things, it's the same everywhere.
Okay. Now, so as far as the draft time, did you participate in the pre-draft combine in Chicago at the time?
Yeah, yeah, I did that.
How was that experience like? Because when you get to that level, there's not that many people that can say they tried out for the NBA. It's a lot different from trying out for your local high school basketball, your local AAU team. How was that experience like trying out for the NBA?
It was cool, man. Like I had a lot of fun. It was, a lot of the guys were my age, so like I had grew up playing against them in AAU and playing against them in college. So it was, really a time to kind of get to know those guys like on a different level, like trying to talk to them and kick it with them and stuff. But also it was exciting because this was a step to possibly play in the NBA. And
Mhm.
man, like you hear about the Chicago pre-draft camp, and just to be there, it was a great experience, and something I always remember.
Now, what test can you say you really excelled at as far as the three-quarter court sprints and the vertical and the bench press and all that?
Man, I ain't that fast, so uh, but a lot of things that we had worked on, um, with our strength and conditioning coach in Mizzou to prepare us for those things. So they knew a lot of the drills that we were going to. I
Oh,
did good on the bench press. I held my own on some of the drills. Um, I don't think it wasn't crazy fast, and my vertical wasn't crazy high, but I was able to. I knew what I was doing, coming into the draft camp, and so those things were familiar to me.
hmm. For a guard slash forward, what are some of the skills that are like really essential?
Um, I think now the game has evolved so much that ball handling is it's important at every position. Ball
Okay.
handling and shooting, those are two of the basics. Um, but I think as a guard slash forward, your ability to get to the basket, being on the wing, being able to create your own shot, um, being able to play inside and out, with
Okay.
you get to the cup a little bit and then you go out and step it out, shoot some threes. I think just having that balance is something that's important, and you don't want to be labeled as just a slash or just a shooter. But if
Right.
you can mix it up, I think that's key.
Very excellent. Now, um, as far as like the summer league, it's interesting because it's kind of a mystery behind Ricky Paulding, at least back home in the city.
Yeah.
You pretty much did your thing in the summer league. So, like, what happened between Piston summer league and going overseas, taking your game like more and more globally? What happened during that time frame?
I mean, the Pistons they had just came off a championship, and so they had the pieces in place, and so it was a situation where um, they wanted me to go overseas where I could get more experience, get more playing time, and then come back. And it's a business. So the next year they drafted these players and such and such, and then it just got to a situation where it didn't work out with the Pistons. But um, yeah, like, I played good in summer league, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is it, and I was the only draft pick that year, so I was like, okay, but
Mhm.
it is what it is, and looking back, of course, it all worked out for a
It,
reason.
it, it definitely worked out because um, we had a few shows on this podcast where we're trying to get across to some of our young ball players. There's a academy. They're mainly South Sudanese refugees, but they're all the way out in Kampala, Uganda. It's called Solid Skills, and
Okay,
this academy is mainly 15 and 17-year olds. The average height in that academy is like 6'6".
that's
And,
crazy.
and therefore, like different tribes, and it's really a big movement they got going on because some of those tribes have been at war for like the past 20 years. So
Okay,
basketball is kind of, bringing them together. And we were trying to get our point across to these kids that the game of basketball is so global that just that round ball could take you around the world, so many beautiful places, beautiful
exactly.
cultures. How was your experience in Germany? And I say Germany because you've been there the longest. So something kept you in Germany. Explain that process going out to Germany.
Yeah, I actually liked everywhere I played. Israel was cool. It was a smaller league at the time. And then France was good. France was crazy athletic. League is up and down. Um, I played against some French guys that eventually became pro. When they were younger. But Germany, for me, Germany was a league that they had a lot of Americans, a lot of guys that because of the military bases in Germany, a lot of guys who are German, but they grew up in America and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it was like a league that you felt comfortable in because there were a lot of people that looked like you, a lot of people that were from where you're from.
Mhm.
But I mean, I just been blessed to be on a good team, man. I had a good coach and a good club that kind of stressed family first, which is important to me. I have my wife and my kids here with me, and so and the rest is history. Luckily, I've been able to stay here, and I just felt home here. And
Mhm.
I think when you find a situation like that, for me, it was important to keep it. I was like, okay, I have this, I have everything what I'm looking for. I'm getting to play
Yes.
basketball. I'm competing. We won a championship. I had all these things, so I don't really need to look anywhere else. And I think sometimes we get caught up uh, in the money. You're trying to say,
Yes.
okay, where can I go make the most money? But sometimes it's not the best situation for you, or
Mhm.
it doesn't work out. So for me, I had to figure out what was important to me, and I had all those things checked off my list. And maybe the money wasn't as high as I could have made somewhere else, but I had everything else, and I had enough money. And so for me, it was a no brainer for me to stay in Germany.
And you still have made good money still,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and you
I
see
can't
you see in
complain.
the world, a lot of guys, from the inner city, especially, they never, and it's sad, they never make it past, the city or the Midwest. So the game has taken you far, you know. Um, for some of our young student athletes that are thinking about dropping out of high school, what advice would you have for them, for those that are kind of losing hope in these days and times?
Man, I get it. Like I understand that, people like you want it now, and like I think every situation is different. Like you got to do what's best for you. Like for me, growing up, I was a guy that I loved college, man. I loved that experience. I loved everything about it, and so it wasn't necessary any pressure for me to leave school early, or um, I was able to enjoy my 4 years in college, graduate, and have that experience. But I think it's tough, man. It's because you hear so much, you don't really know what to believe as a student athlete in that position. This is your goal, but sometimes you got to be patient. Sometimes you gotta. It's hard, man. You got to know, you know, it's like I said, it's an individual situation, and everybody's different. But the main thing is I guess listen to what's best for you and not what everybody is saying or what you think you should do.
Mhm, mhm. And you mentioned um, you know taking advantage of having a 4 year 4 year experience, getting your degree. Had it not been for basketball, you already had a degree to fall back on. What career field would you have likely pursued had you just strictly worked off your college degree?
I wanted to be like a school counselor, like for the like elementary school. That's something my senior year when I was in Mizzou. Once I season was over and I was wrapping up classes, I had a chance to do a semester, at the schools where I kind of followed the guidance counselors around and had some students that maybe have some issues at home or some issues at school, and you kind of get to talk to them and work with them, and that's something that appealed to me because I think that's something that's important. A lot of times when kids not doing well in school, it's not just because they're not getting it. It's not because they're smart. It's because it could be other outside factors
Yes.
that's having a pressure on them, and so that's something that always appealed to me, and that's definitely something I think I would have tried to pursue, after my college was over, if I didn't play overseas.
Right. Okay. For the viewers out there, we've had Ricky Paulding on the show. Basketball. He had the gift of basketball. It took him places, but he also had, a degree to fall back on as well. So to wrap things up, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule, dealing with the time zone difference, for sharing some words of wisdom and just your experience alone, man. That really means a lot to our young viewers, man. I really appreciate that. It's very hard to get, people, on your level to take some time out of the schedule. So I really appreciate you, Ricky.
No, no problem, man. Sorry. So, well, I guess it's not so late for you, but I'm up anyway. I was trying to watch the Lions, but man, they always disappoint me every week, so I didn't go to
So
sleep. But
you're a diehard Lions fan, then, even out in Germany, showing love. Huh?
yeah, it's hard because my wife from Kansas City, so they Chiefs fans, so they gotta listen to
Oh,
the Chiefs winning all the time. But I'm a Lions dude, man, all the
that's
way.
what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ricky. Showing love, the Heavy Brand Podcast. We keep putting on for the city, man. 313 for life, man.
Oh man, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate being on here, man. Love everything that you're doing. It's very positive, man. I'm glad I can help a little bit.
Appreciate it. All right. Blessings, Ricky.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.